Even by the standards of Israel and its feared secret services, and it's hard to see who else could have done it, the planning behind a mass destination of pagers was as breathtaking as it was bloody. Hundreds of the low-tech devices strapped to belts or carried in pockets of members of Hezbollah exploded simultaneously across Lebanon and parts of Syria this afternoon. 2,700 people were injured. No wonder hospitals were overwhelmed, 9 fatally. We'll try to explain how the wave of death was perpetrated in a moment. The timing of the coordinated carnage could suggest an Israeli invasion of southern Lebanon is imminent. Hezbollah, the Iranian-backed militia group, has already promised revenge.
Shop security cameras recorded the moment when bleeps, mainly on the belts of Hezbollah members, started exploding across Lebanon. The man on the left here in the yellow was looking at his when suddenly it blew up. In packed hospital wards and corridors, many victims had injuries at waist level. The Lebanese Health Ministry says at least 9 people were killed, including a child, and almost 3,000 injured, 200 of them critically. The casualties include the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon. His condition is said to be not serious. The fact the number of wounded is so high indicates that the pagers exploded, if not simultaneously, then within a very short period. There wasn't enough time for warnings or word to spread to allow for the discarding of the devices before they went off in such a big way.
You sent a message that fools the battery and makes it overheat, then automatically it has to explode or take fire. And this is what happened.
This is the bedroom of a man who, luckily for him, left his device on a table. The Islamist political and paramilitary group Hezbollah has been using a pager system in the belief it was secure. Now it seems it was anything but. Hezbollah's command and control system has, for the time being, been effectively shut down by the destruction of the bleep network.
So Hezbollah have said that this is the biggest security breach to date since October the 7th. What they will do in response is still unclear, but I would expect a certain reaction to this very big operation.
The Israelis have not commented, but the pager blitz has happened at a time of escalating tensions along the border with Lebanon. The two sides have been engaged in a low-level conflict ever since the war in Gaza began. Throughout that time, around 80,000 Israelis have been unable to go home to towns and villages in the north. Last night, the Israeli Security Cabinet decided to designate as an official goal of the war the halting of Hezbollah's attacks to allow those residents to return. The pager blitz is probably the most widespread attack on Hezbollah personnel that there's ever been, and it could be the prelude to a major Israeli offensive. Rarely can pagers have been used to send such a powerful message. John Irvine, News at 10, Tel Aviv.
Our science correspondent Martin Stew has been looking into how whoever did this might have carried it out. Martin, what have you learned?
Well, Nina, if you don't work in the healthcare service and you're under 40, chances are you've never used a pager before, but their value is in their simplicity. They can only receive messages, it's text messages or alerts, and they can do that when there's not much signal. Also, and crucially in this case, unlike your phone, they don't have GPS, so people can't tell your location. And that is the reason it's believed that Hezbollah moved their operatives from using mobile phones to communicate to pagers, so they couldn't be tracked and then targeted. Now, that doesn't explain how they exploded. One theory is to do with the lithium-ion batteries inside. Now, we know that those can overheat, and when they overheat, they can set fire. It's the reason why you're not allowed to use battery packs to charge a phone when you're on an aeroplane. But talking to explosive experts tonight, they say when you look at the coordinated and precise timings of these blasts, as well as, and this is the key bit, the ferocity of the blast, it doesn't appear that the battery warming up on its own would be enough to cause that level of blast. So what they say is much more plausible is that there was a small amount of military-grade explosive hidden inside the pager already, probably before they were distributed. And what would have happened then is that somebody would have sent an alphanumeric code, a type of radio wave, which would have armed that explosive remotely. Now, Israel hasn't admitted they did this, but they do have form. Go back to 1996, and there was an infamous bomb maker who was assassinated not by a pager, but by a mobile phone that had explosives in. He answered the phone, that triggered the explosion. There's still lots of questions here at the moment and a lot of assumptions being made, but it appears a tactical decision by Hezbollah to try and move to a low-tech form of technology to hide their digital footprint and not be tracked may well have played into the hands of their enemies.
Martin, thank you very much. Thank you. Our global security editor, Rohit Kachru, is in Jerusalem for us tonight. Rohit, a simple yet audacious attack. Who do you think was behind it?
Well, who would have done this? Who could have done this? Who had the means? Who had the motive? And the answer to all of those questions, Nina, is Israel, and two senior diplomatic sources have confirmed to ITV News tonight that it was indeed Israel behind this attack. Not only that, they're saying, without saying much more, that the decision to do so was made, to follow this course of action was made within the last few days. So much focus on the spycraft here. But perhaps the most important question is why now? Because, you know, whoever was behind this, presumably Israel, did give something away. They exposed this remarkable capability that they had. And so they must have been chosen this moment for some reason. Now, perhaps they wanted to deliver a psychological blow to Hezbollah. It's hard to underestimate the impact of the confusion of those moments after the simultaneous blasts all around the country. The sight tonight of ambulance sirens and blood donation tents across the city of Beirut. Perhaps they're trying to force some sort of diplomatic solution. But the speculation tonight is centering on a more ominous motive behind the timing here, which is that this was, in fact, a precursor, a prelude to a bigger military operation, perhaps even a ground invasion in southern Lebanon.
Rohit, thank you very much. Thank you.